Hello, Audioholics. This is Logan, and welcome back to our album reviews here on Audioholics Anonymous. Today, we will be reviewing the new Chevelle album, N-
NIRATIAS.
NIRATIAS. Sorry, he just
Nothing
told
is
me what it
real, and
was.
this is a simulation, is what it stands for.
Nothing is real, and this is a simulation.
I love
And
it.
here to join us is Nira Tyler.
Yeah, what's going on, motherfuckers? No, I'm joking. I'm not really Tyler. I'm actually Elon Musk.
Ew.
Because, this album is about going to Mars, and that's my jam. That's my jam, dude. I'm gonna play this album when we go to Mars on repeat the whole way down. I'm gonna play it in the fucking space rocket.
Seriously? Like, you're not okay. If only there was a more odd album you could play for when we go to space. A space oddity, if you will. Seriously, that's like the perfect album for going to space. Come on, fuck Chevelle. No.
Fuck Chevelle, they're the worst band ever.
No,
No,
no.
this was a really good album, but it wasn't like mind-blowingly amazing like the singles might have made it out to be, which means it did turn out to be a little bit of a disappointment, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It just has its flaws. So, um let's start with the vocals. If you've heard a Chevelle song, then you know what to expect with the vocals. You're not going to be surprised. He's not going to blow your mind with amazing operatic singing or anything like that. It's a Chevelle record. I will say that it felt like he was a little bit more passionate about the subject matter. He's apparently a very well-known sci-fi fan, so it made sense they would make an album about like space travel and stuff like that, and he'd be more passionate, and you can hear that in his vocals, but it's not going to blow your mind. Instrumentally, I would say much the same, but I will say one thing about the album that is very unique is the riffing. Like, the riffing style on this album isn't really something I've heard much of, if any of, in other albums like it. Definitely not in any other Chevelle album, but I can't think of another album that really does guitar riffs kind of like this one. A lot of it is playing on the upper end of the guitar and doing riffing up there, which is rare for a metal album because the metal albums like to focus on like the low strings and palm muting. And I'm not saying this album doesn't do that ever. It's just, it implements the higher strings more, which is interesting. So for that reason, I rated the instrumentals a little bit higher. The songwriting is really where this album shines, in my opinion. The biggest problem with the composition of the album is the track listing. It really feels like a random collection of songs and weird transition tracks, and it opens with an instrumental and closes with some weird spoken word thing. Like, this, it's just weird that they would decide to do this. I mean, Chevelle's a band that has been around for like 20 years, more than I think, and they should know how to compose an album better than this at this point in their career. That said, the actual songs are really fucking good. Verrucht is a good instrumental, and if it had been in the middle of the album, we might have thought a little bit
Tyler.
higher, higher. No, we would have thought maybe a little higher of it. So Long Mother Earth is a fucking great song. Mars Simula, instant classic. Self Destructor is like the best song Chevelle has ever put out. Like, seriously, it's so fucking good. And also, I love what it's about. It's basically just a giant middle finger to anti-science people. So, like, anti-vaxxers, anti-climate change people. And I just love that. I fucking love it. Pistol Star is a really unexpected standout. Endlessly is another one of those. Endlessly is kind of like a piano ballad, actually. It's really stripped back, and I don't think Chevelle's ever really done anything like it before, but it works. It works so well. Peach is so heavy. I mean, just song after song, everything works on this album. Ghost and Razor. The only thing is that those transition tracks are just noise. They made. Why did you put Wormhole in there, or what's the other one? Sleep the Deep, I think, which is basically just background noise. I mean, what is the point of that? You're just filling space on an album at that point. I know they wanted to be a little bit more experimental with it this time around, but it just didn't work. So overall, I think it's a collection of really, really good songs, and I would love to hear more of it, maybe more polished with the track order and less of those weird, useless transitions. Just a more solid, well flowing album, and it could easily be a 9.5 or higher. As it stands, I give this album an 8.5 out of 10.
Well, here's my response to your review.
I'm escaping to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism. Space!
Space.
Seriously, that is like my favorite thing on YouTube. No, I had to incorporate that there. Space!
Space.
And like if you watch the video, you can see him like repressing a laugh. And that's like I think that was in like one of the Command and Conquer games too. Anyway, no, I agree with everything that he says. I would say that the standout for me isn't even necessarily the songwriting. I think it's just the overall vibey atmosphere. And admittedly, I'm not a huge Chevelle fan, even though maybe I should be. Um, I know him as the I know them as the yeah, I get it, you're an outcast band, right? They're that one.
No, no, that's Shine Down.
Oh, I get them confused. Okay, well
All
they
these
have
bands
similar
blend
names.
together for this guy.
Yeah, they do. No, but oh yeah, Chevelle was like the one we were going to see at Sonic Temple, but it got rained out, I think.
I don't remember. I think that
Yeah.
was Bring Me the Horizon.
I thought
I don't
Chevelle as
remember.
well, but I don't think we ended up seeing them. But
Yeah, I don't think we did.
yeah. No, this is a really vibey album, and if not this album, then maybe one that flows together more coherently.
Yeah,
I would not mind buying a Chevelle album on vinyl. I
yeah.
don't know which one it will be because I really do want to get more into the band. This album, this album, it's a good introduction to the band. Don't get me wrong, and I say that as somebody who was maybe not introduced to them through this record, but definitely got into them through this record. That being said, this is a bunch of ideas that were put together in a random, incoherent order and then just spat out. Like somebody put a bunch of songs on a record, hit the shuffle button, and just let the chips fall where they may. And I think that might actually be what happened. Because, like you said, we have an instrumental right at the beginning. Instrument, like, unless that instrumental sounds like, an intro or unless it's like
Which it
building to
really
something,
didn't.
it
It
shouldn't
really
be at the
didn't.
very
It went
beginning.
on for like 4 minutes. It was
It went
really.
on
It
to
felt
for
like
like four
Orion or
minutes and it
something.
didn't connect to anything.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like you said, at the end, there was this weird spoken word thing that just kind of ended
Yeah.
abruptly. So, what I think happened is quite literally they just put some random shit together in a blender and out came this album. So, that being said, though, the random shit they put together isn't bad. My point though is that you could put this album on like on Spotify, hit the shuffle button and not really have a different
Might actually get a better
you
experience out of
might
it.
possibly get a better experience out of it. In fact, like I wonder like if I wonder if like somebody could rearrange the track listing to make the songs flow better.
Somebody did something like that with Sad Wings of Destiny. Like, I don't remember if this is completely true, but I remember reading somewhere that it was originally supposed to be that the second side was the first side and the first side was the second side.
Hmm,
And so you can go on Spotify and listen to it like that, and people say that it flows better.
really? I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know, like Victim of Changes seems like a decent way to
It is kind of like a proggy epic, though. I'm not sure if it makes sense to open an album with it.
I guess. I'll have to you know what, I have the album on vinyl, so I could literally just listen to it in that order and see if that's correct.
If it's
But
better, yeah.
no, beyond that, I think you've basically said all that needs to be said. Vocals are okay, instrumentals are pretty nice and vibey. Songwriting is okay. Um Personal enjoyment though, I gave it a 9 out of 10 in personal enjoyment. I did genuinely enjoy this album. I just wish that it wasn't so slapdash put together.
Yeah.
So my final score on the album is an 8.3 out of 10.
Mine's an 8.5. I don't remember if I said that.
I don't think you did. And the overall AU meter is an 8.4 out of 10.
Yep.
Do you have any finishing thoughts about the record?
No, but I will say I heard two things. So one thing is that they said that if this album isn't well received, if people don't really dig it, then they're probably not going to do another Chevelle record for some time. One of the guys might go on to a side project and they might just kind of put it on hiatus.
Well,
But if it is received well, they apparently put a bunch of songs together, like over 20 songs, and they just chose a few for this album. So they said they might put another album out with those songs, like the
which
rest
I'm
of the
sure
ones
will
they didn't
also
put.
be completely like random, like
Maybe, but it could make sense that if they put out another album that was kind of like a sister album to this one, maybe it would make more sense if you listen to them back to back, kind of like Vector Virus or something along those lines.
maybe.
I don't know.
I
It's
think,
possible.
like, yeah, but at least Vector flowed coherently on its own, and so did Virus. Like, I can
Kind of,
listen to Virus without
yeah.
listening to Vector, and not, and like,
That's
you know,
true, but I think Vector ended very abruptly and weird, kind of like this album did.
like I would say like Vector and Virus are like Terminators 1 and 2. You can
Kinda.
you can skip Terminator 1 because it's basically dog shit and just move right to Terminator 2. Same thing with Vector.
No, Vector's a good album. Anyway, did you guys listen to this Chevelle album? What did you think about it? Tell us in the comments below. Without further ado, we bid you
Audio
audio
Jew.
Jew. Bye-bye.